Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox, 11:54 on the East Coast, 8:54 on the West Coast. As we approach the top of the hour here, I do want to get to some breaking news that we are following. Take a look at this post from the Office of Management and Budget here, as they say today we have released President Trump's fiscal year 26 discretionary budget request. And I do want to go over a little bit more about what that proposal does say. Now, this is the 2026 budget plan, and it would slash non-defense domestic spending by about $163 billion while increasing expenditures there on national security. That is according to statements that have been released by the White House recently here. The budget showed a desire to crack down on diversity programs and initiatives to address climate change, but the administration has yet to release detailed tables on what it wants income taxes, tariffs, or the budget deficit to be, a sign of the political and financial challenge that confronts President Trump when he's promising to cut taxes and repay the federal debt. Budgets do not become law, but serve as a touchstone for the upcoming fiscal year debates, often considered a statement of values. The first budget since President Trump's return to the White House carries the added weight of defining the Republican president's second-term pursuits alongside his party there in Congress. It also arrives as President Trump has imposed what could be hundreds of billions of dollars in tax increases in the form of these tariffs, setting off a trade war that has consumers, CEOs, and foreign leaders worried about any possible economic downturn as a result. The White House's Office of Management and Budget, headed by Russell Vought, a chief architect of Project 2025, provided contours of a so-called skinny version of top-line numbers with more details to come. The quote, "details soon," was said during a cabinet meeting this week at the White House. The nation's estimated $7 trillion plus federal budget has been growing steadily, with annual deficits fast approaching $2 trillion and the annual interest payments on the debt almost $1 trillion. That's thanks mostly to the spike in emergency COVID-19 pandemic spending, changes in the tax code, and climbing costs of Medicare, Medicaid, and other programs, largely to cover the nation's health as people tend to age. Now, the nation's debt load at $36 trillion is ballooning. We do expect to get much more information on this budget proposal as the day does progress, but I do want to send it over to Carolyn Shively with Fox News as she breaks down more about the budget.
Republicans debating President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill now have his budget blueprint to guide them, and Democrats say the cuts go too deep.
If Republicans are successful in jamming down an extreme budget into signature into law, then they own that. It's on them.
The Wall Street Journal was first to report the Trump budget plan contains $557 billion in non-defense spending, a cut of $163 billion from last year. It increases money for defense, border security, and air safety, and makes cuts to education, environmental, and foreign aid programs.
It will be the biggest bill ever passed in the history of our Congress, our Senate, and Congress.
While overall spending shrinks 22%, the Pentagon budget gets a 13% boost.
We say we're going to make all these cuts, and then we turn right around and we give all the money to the war pimps at the Pentagon.
Employment numbers out Friday show businesses added a healthy 177,000 jobs in April, leaving unemployment at 4.2%.
This is another great jobs report, exactly what the market expected, better than expected.
The budget rollout comes on the same day a tariff loophole is closing that lets shipments under $800 come to the U.S. duty-free. Its expiration could jack up the price of Chinese super low-cost sites like Shein and Temu. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Caroline, thank you so much. And again, we'll keep you updated on the latest here as we get more about the spending cuts and that proposed budget for 2026. That is, of course, for the fiscal year.